Good morning, everyone. Our Group 58 is excited to present our project title Cost of Living Index by Country for course ABW 506 Data Storytelling and Visualization. So our team includes Li Tingwei, the team leader, Liu Xinhuang, who summarizing the project, Goujing Li Tingwei, and Jia Yongqi, who worked on the dashboard, and Meng Zhimin, who managed the report writing. So this report looks at globally cost of living data using Power BI. We focus on four main indexes like cost of living, rent, restaurant prices, and local purchasing power. We found that some countries like Switzerland and Singapore have very high living cost, while others like Pakistan and India are much lower. We use charts and graphs to show how these differences affect business decisions, such as marketing entry. And our project is divided into four main parts, like background and significance, data source and precisions, research, questions and analysis, and conclusions and recommendations. So for part one today, cost of living is important topic for companies, investors, and the people working abroad. It affects how much people spend, how companies pay workers, and how business grow globally. We use 2024 data to compare living costs in different countries. Our study helps companies understand the difference and make better decisions about expanding or hiring in different regions. So for part two, we got our data for Nubo and used a dataset shared on Kaggle. It includes important fields like country name, cost of living, rent, grocery, and restaurant prices, purchasing power. After importing the data into Power BI, we cleaned it, removed errors, and adjust the extreme values. We also create new field like proportion of rent to get more insight. And for part three, our research answered 6 key questions. For example, which countries have the highest and the lowest cost of living? How much does rent affect the total cost? What's the link between purchasing power and the cost of living? And how do food and restaurant prices compare? These questions helps us understand both the regional difference and how each factor plays a role. In the next part of our presentation, we will walk you through our dashboard visualization and show our finding and recommendations. Thank you.
Okay, so question one is which countries have the highest and lowest overall cost of living? Looking at the right bar chart, we can see that countries with high living costs are mainly concentrated in developed countries like the Singapore, the United States, Switzerland, and Norway. These countries usually have higher quality of life, social services, and income levels, which also means higher living consumption and operating costs. Some countries with low living costs are mostly concentrated in developing countries. These countries are at a relatively low stage of overall economic development and have weak consumption capacity, but it also means that the potential market space is large. And according to the results, we propose some strategies. In high-cost countries, because products and services are priced higher and the market may be more receptive to high-end or luxury goods, as suitable for international brands, luxury brands, and high-end service companies to enter or expand the market. The entry threshold is high, but once a market is occupied, the profit margin is greater. At the same time, in low-cost countries suitable for the development of economic goods, and some spices that are price sensitive. It may be more suitable for daily consumer goods, economical gathering, and other industries. When entering, companies need to pay attention to cost control and small profits, but quick to over strategies. And the number two question is, what is the difference in the proportion of rent in the cost of living in different countries? Looking at the pie chart, we can see that countries with high rent ratios are mainly concentrated in developed countries such as Hong Kong, Singapore, and the United States. Yeah. The per capita income of residents in these countries is at the forefront of the world. The degree of urbanization is high, and the rental market has been in short supply for a long time, resulting in a very high proportion of rent in the cost of living. At the same time, other countries with no rent ratios are mostly developing countries. The overall rent level in these countries is low, the disposable income of residents is limited, and the consumption is more concentrated in areas such as food and transportation, so that rent accounts for a small proportion of disposable income. According to results, we propose some two strategies. In high-cost countries, this place will rent tax up over 60% of people's income. Local consumers have less money to spend. To succeed here, companies should use different strategies. For example, offer flexible workspaces or discounts for long-term rentals to reduce a rent burden. Also, focus on light asset models like food delivery or online shopping to avoid high store rents. And in no-cost countries, in areas where rent is only 10 to 20% of income, housing is cheap, but people may spend less overall. The markets are better for affordable products and mass brands. Companies can set up factories here to lower production costs. Basic goods like everyday items and simple goods as well. And profits can grow through high volume sales.
第二 part 分享，我们将用其按答 handle the dashboard visualization for the ABW506 report. Here I'll use Power BI charts to walk through our findings. First, let's look at question 3. The scatter plot shows the global cost of living index and the local purchasing power index are positively linked. Developed countries like Switzerland and the US sit in the top right corner. This means high cost go with high purchasing power, which comes from high wages and social support. Developing countries like Egypt and Syria are in the bottom left, where low cost and low purchasing power show how their economy holds them back. Market entry strategies are as follows. In high-cost countries, we should focus on high-end services and luxury goods, but we need to control costs by making local partnerships or improving the supply chain. In low-cost countries, we can use contract manufacturing and low-cost imports to build the market and slowly raise buying power. Now, look at question 4. The table is sorted from highest to lowest by restaurant price index. High-price countries, mostly developed nations, or popular tourist spots like Switzerland and Iceland, have high incomes. People eat out a lot, and food, labor, rent costs are high. Low-price countries, meaning developing areas or emerging markets, such as Bangladesh and India, have less money to spend, and local costs for food and labor are lower. Market entry strategies are as follows. In high-price markets, go for Michelin-level experiences or premium delivery, and cut costs by buying in bulk. In low-price markets, simplify the menu and use online delivery to lower costs through scale. That's all my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Dear Professor, I'm Li Tingwei, and today I'll be presenting our group's funding on global living costs and market interest strategies. In this group project, my main contributions included analyzing comparative cost indices and formulating market interest strategies based on our findings, and make the report more attractive. Firstly, we found intriguing contrast between grocery and restaurant prices globally. For example, in countries like UAE, Bahamas, and Qatar, groceries are significantly more expensive than dining out. This primarily stems from high import tariffs, pushing grocery costs upwards, while restaurant prices remain relatively stable to support tourism. Conversely, in countries such as Switzerland, Iceland, and the United States, eating out is notably pricier than groceries. This trend is driven by high labor expenses, service taxes, and the premium dining experience. Based on these insights, we recommended tailored market interest strategies. In countries where grocery costs more, upscale restaurants offering unique dining experiences and chains cooperating with local suppliers to manage costs are ideal. In regions where eating out is costlier, focusing on affordable in-dining options like fast food and street snacks using local ingredients can enhance market presence. And next. Additionally, our analysis on living costs highlights the substantial impact of rent. High-rent countries such as Singapore, Hong Kong, and Denmark see nearly doubled living costs once rent, underscoring a significant space premium. Consequently, low-rent countries like Vietnam, India, and Bangladesh expect minimal rent impacts on total living costs. Consequently, we advised, in high-rent areas, adopting space-sharing models like serviced apartments and shared offices, complemented by e-commerce, can effectively mitigate high rental expenses. And in low-rent countries, establishing manufacturing bases is highly beneficial, leveraging affordable labor and low operational costs for cost-effective global production. In conclusion, our research finding emphasizes the necessity of formulating meticulous market interest strategies based on the local cost structure, whether it is to address the expenditure issue of grocery stores and restaurants, or to cope with the financial pressure caused by rent. Okay, that's my presentation section. Thank you for your attention.
Hello everyone, I'd like to share the conclusion and recommendation global cost of living analysis for the year 2024. This report uses Power BI to analyze the global cost of living data for 2024, focusing on key indicators like rent, food price, and purchasing power. It compares the cost structures across countries and gives business strategy suggestions. Developed countries have high living costs, so companies should expect higher expenses and focus premier products for their consumers. Developing countries offer cheaper production and supply chain options, but require low cost, high volume strategy due to low incomes. understanding living costs help business choose markets, manage staff, and control options. Future research should use accurate data, cover margins, and tariff change over time. AI tools can also help predict future trends and improve decision-making for both business and government. Our presentation is here. Thanks for your attention. Bye.